Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Allahumma salli wa sallim ala sayyidina wa habibina wa nabiyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. First of all, Jum'ah Mubarakah to everyone who are here physically, as well as to those who are joining us through the YouTube live streaming. Welcome as well virtually. Let us open our session today first with the recitation of Kitab Al-Fatiha. Okay, first of all, I would like to welcome again everyone to the session, the first sessions on the IQRA Hub. Let me just introduce you first. IQRA Hub is one of the many initiatives that the Office of KCA introduced to the public community of the universities. So through this particular initiative, IQRA Hub basically is not just as a simple book corner, because if we go to any institutions, you would find initiative like this to be quite common. But in our university, because we are leading the way, so we want to transform, or we want to make the IQRA Hub not just as a common book corner, but rather as a forum where an intellectual discussions will happen. So quite a number of times throughout the year, this is the first planning that we are doing. So inshallah, many more sessions like this with authors coming from our own staff or students, inshallah. We will be having sessions like a book discussions, like an intellectual discourse, so all these kind of things you can expect with the initiative of IQRA Hub. Another thing that I have to mention, because IQRA Hub operates without any financial implications, so we would welcome any donations in the form of books or magazines or any other materials that you think would be suitable to be displayed in the IQRA Hub, and then maybe we will have discussions on that. That would be very much welcome. If you're interested to donate the books or the materials, you can go to the office of KCA, and inshallah we will welcome you happily. Okay, so for today's sessions, we have our very own staff, who I have to say that is quite an active writer. In fact, before these sessions, I've completed one of the chapters. I read the chapter because I have to, because it's not that I don't know what I'm going to talk. But let me just welcome first Madam Zuraida, who is an Director Administrations at East Tech Campus. She has written quite a number of articles. In fact, for today's session, she will be speaking on one, or probably the primary focus of her talk today will be one of the chapters that she has written for the book Leading the Way, Case Studies on the Role of IIUM Administrators. So from the title, I believe what she will do today, she will share her experience, and hopefully together after sessions, we will have some sort of like a question and answer, or probably sharing sessions relating to her experience holding various positions in IIUM, as well as being placed in many offices in IIUM. She, in fact, is in the process of coming up with another article. Yeah, right, madam, for Murabi in Action. So that is also another article that will be produced by her, inshallah. Soon we will enjoy the writing as well. I don't want to take any of your time because I have the tendency to not know when to stop when I talk. So I think I should stop now. So so for this, in this particular minute, I'm going to pass the floor to our very own speaker, Madam Zuraida. But before that, if you have, during the sessions, Madam has given permissions, if you have any questions or if you have any suggestions that you wish to interrupt, no, I'm not going to say interrupt, you wish to say, then you can just simply raise your hand and we'll entertain at that particular point. Yes, Madam? All right, so with that, I invite Madam Zuraida for the talk. Thank you so much.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. First and foremost, I would like to thank Dr. Adani for the introduction. Okay, fellow participants online, also I know that there are few online and also physical. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, salam sejahtera and salam Malaysia Madani. Okay, so before I start, I think I would like to take this opportunity to thank KCA for giving me this opportunity to be the like the first speaker for this session of ABC, when I saw the ABC, it reminds me of air batu campur, which is very nice if we have it at this time. But um, I think we just put aside about ABC. This is something of art, book, and coffee session, and we're going to share some of the things that for today. I think you all already aware that I'm going to speak something about my chapter, chapter 8 in this book. This is the book that leading the way, case studies of the IUM on the roles of IUM administrators, and I have been selected as one of the writers for this book, and my chapter is chapter 8, entitled "Learning to Succeed for Changing Roles." Okay. Having mentioned the title, maybe I can a little bit share why I chose the title Learning to Succeed for Changing Role. When I first got the opportunity to write, I was thinking, what should I write? Because this is actually the first time I wrote this actually the first time. After that, I did some writing also, but this is the first time. So I was thinking, what be the things that I should write for the first time? So I think that I am also quite near to my ending of my career, which is next year. So I think this is way back, I think in 2021, if I'm not mistaken. So it's like it's better for me to share my experience in working with IUM. So here I am with the title, and also today I'm sharing my experience with all of you. Inshallah, yeah, we hope we can have some sharing of knowledge together, and also if this could inspire you somehow to give you the motivation to work in your working career. So I hope that will be something to be benefited of. Yeah. Okay. Actually, I started with Kuliah of Architecture. If anybody who has read my chapter, so that was my first station. Okay, I call it station in this book because easy for me to remember. I have actually penned down 7 stations in this book, where the role is definitely different from one to another. Okay, my experience in CAET actually, I was the assistant director at that time. Okay, and I was, and of course, not forgetting, Madam Nani was with me um, during that time, my EO, my lovely EO, and also we were together trying to, because CAET was quite new at that time, and to give CAET, I think, a lively kuliah in IUM, because we moved to our new building 2001, yeah. We moved to our new building, the building now. So a lot of things I spent in CAET, including I experienced, to me as an assistant director, when we have the national in built environment, a national seminar in built environment, the QS convention at the national level, it was something very close to my heart until now, because it's not easy to collaborate with the BQSM, the Board of Quantity Surveyors, the Board of Architecture, and all the professional bodies around you. So, but that was really a sweet memory for me, because at that time I'm still quite, not to say young, but at the very beginning of my career in IUM. So it gives me really an experience, yeah. And then I moved to, after CAED, I moved to ITD, yeah? ITD, and there it comes the time where I actually involved in many occasions in terms of technical. Technical, that means in the kuliah, you are dealing with the students, with the examinations, with the academics. But when it comes to ITD, it is a new setting. So the roles start to change for me. Yeah? From assistant director in the kuliah, I become the assistant director in ITD. So I am with the engineers, the programmers, yeah. But what is more interesting is I learned many things on the technical things with my staff, and also being in ITD, normally we are in the technical environment where communication is not that much at that time, but we start on with the bulletin, and with the frequently asked questions and so on. This is about in 2022. So I guess this actually gives something very valuable to me, especially because I moved to another role from the kuliah setting to the technical setting, yeah. And after that, I got a call to move again. This time is in 2005, yeah, after ITD to Kuliah of Medicine. So this is in Kuantan. So it's something like now I am moving into another state. So I told myself, why not? This is an opportunity. So I went to Kuliah of Medicine, and the setting is totally different from architecture and also ITD, because this is something to do with medical school, and I am around with the paramedics, yeah, be surrounded with the paramedics. So the medical doctors, the specialists, and also the nurses, and also the admin and technical staff, not forgetting them. So again, this is a new experience because I actually involved with Ministry of Health, things like the central agency of which I need to understand about how medical sciences works. This again is a new role for me because although it is an administrative post, but it is again in a different setting. This gives the times for me to learn new things, because not everything in the kuliah, because I'm in the kuliah of architecture, this is also a kuliah, but this time is the kuliah of medicine, so it's still a different setting. So I'm truly grateful to be with them, and I think recently when they launched the 30th anniversary, I think I have also written one book. Yeah? So they have launched the book, and I was very grateful to be one of the writers also. Okay, coming after that to another area of my work is in my working career. Yeah? After Kuliah of Medicine, I was called up to join STEP. So when I joined STEP, so this is the time where I think now this is another new environment for me, because this is not a kuliah and also not a technical setting organization, but this is something to do with the student affairs. We are managing the students. So this is a lot of dealing with students, and again, my role changed to understand the life, the student life, and also how to deal with the mahalah life, because I was in charge also for mahalah, the residential at that time, the transportation unit, and at that time I think I was given the opportunity to also involve in facilitating the ministry, producing the book Malan Transportation, Langkutan University Awam. So when I involved in that, I was one of the facilitators. So being an administrative officer at that time, way back in 2012, 2011 and 12, it was something not that really something familiar for an administrator to do the job of a facilitator at the ministry level, and also to write and assist producing a book at the national level, and also become the facilitator for the central region. So what I'm trying to highlight here is it was really an experience for me. I am actually now when I look back at that time, I think, wow, that is something I experienced during that. Not many administrators involved during that time. So, and I was also having the opportunity. I had the opportunity to write a paper with Madam Nani and Madam Sharizad, where the paper was presented at the SPARK. There was a seminar for the student affairs mahalah team during that time for all the universities STAT, student affairs division involved in that seminar. So that was also a very interesting experience for me because we were to actually enlighten the participant on our star system, where at that time university awam or the public university, they don't have the star system like us, and they don't have any mechanism to measure the co-curricular activities of the students. So they were interested in that system that we have, so we presented that star system. Yeah. So something for me to share and tell you now that all those things actually was very close to my heart until now, because it was not easy to involve at the ministry level, at the national level, when you are not really exposed with what we have now. Yeah? If right now, if you can see many administrators, they are already moderators. They are now in the TV, in the live YouTube, and so on. But this is what I'm saying is now. But way back in 2011 and 12, it was like a scary experience, yeah, for some of us, including me. But I have tried my best, and I will treasure all the experience that I had, and I think it will last with me until I leave IUM. Yeah. So I was mentioning about STAT. Yeah? That was, anybody actually have count on how many stations do I actually have gone through during what I have given here? I think I have already given you the fourth station, yeah, after CAET, ITD, ITD, medicine and STAT. The fourth stations. I myself is counting because it's quite a number for me. Yeah? And then the fifth station after STAT, I was asked to join development. I hope you can hear my voice, yeah? Okay. I was called up to join development, and in development again, my exposure at that time was with the team of the technical people. So again, my role changed from dealing with more with the students, with the student affairs, I mean, yeah? But now it come back to the development, like projects, like technical items and things, all the things in development that really new for me. For example, like the PFI project, I got to know, I was introduced on the PFI project at that time in development division, and all the things, all the paperwork, everything involved the technical. So at that time, I think now I am living in another new working environment, which I think that was one of another precious thing for me to bring to my memories later on, the memory lane, yeah? Because I was also at that time involved in the PFI project. At that time, we were in the midst to establish the hospital, IM hospital. So before I joined development in Kuliah of Medicine, I have involved in the project brief of the hospital. And when I joined development, I continue with the project brief in terms of they have the agenda of purchasing the procurement of the hospital. So all the things when we had in development division, the time where we do the procurement, I was also one of the secretariat with the development division team. So it was very interesting, and I think my voice is just as good as the program nearby, but I hope you all can still hear my voice. And of course, my colleagues in the virtual, I hope you can still hear me. Okay, and again, in development division, I learned many things about the technical thing, which I think I can still remember those things that I can treasure. Okay, when I finished with development division, my career there, I think I was called up again to join the rector's office, and here again, another change of role, which I think this is more challenging because this involved the corporate office, and again at the national level, but it is in a different setting of not the time when I joined STEC, because STEC is more dealing with student affairs. So this is a time where you actually involve with all the agenda with the VCs, the vice chancellors, the rectors, and also the things where the rector's office and also the former rector involved in the meetings, in the programs, the project that she involved with. Yeah. So being in the rector office, I have had the opportunity to actually learn about many things in the protocols, and also some of the things that involve the former rector project is like research. For example, like Index Syariah project research, I was involved also, and slowly I'm getting in touch with research. This is to help with the survey, and also the when the time for the briefing to the public and so on, we help to be the secretariat to the panelists of the Index Syariah. So this is something very interesting also for me to share with you, because not many of our administrators really had the chance to involve in research. So I think this was really a great pleasure for me when I had the chance to do that. And also in the office of the rector, I also did some of the I think the trip to overseas, for example, that the women conscience in Turkey, where we actually show our solidarity to the Syrian refugees. And that was the time where I experienced being with thousands of women from all over the world, and we share our actually what we actually achieved there is actually to show our solidarity. So the Syrian refugee was being visited by the members of the Women Conscience, and they provide also like food item. They facilitate the woman refugee with all the moral support and the spiritual also when they visited them. Yeah. So that was very interesting, and I learned a lot during that trip to Turkey. And after my career ends in the office of the rector, I was then called up to join SASMEC at IUM. SASMEC at IUM is our own hospital, teaching hospital. I think being in SASMEC, of course, it is totally a new setting with 2,000 over population. It is on its own organization, own setting, own management. The style of management is a hospital setting, totally different. And there comes after that the pandemic. So as you know, the pandemic COVID-19 gave us really a hard times and hardship for everyone. So it did to me when I was the administrator there. But of course, with courage, with patience, and with commitment, you know, although you have to work there every day during the pandemic, because hospital is an essential, considered under essential service, where you don't close hospital. So that is a time when you need to help the patients. So the administrator is the backbone of the hospital. So again, I experienced and learned good things there. And until now, the memories of SASMEC still remains. You know, helping with all the work there to help the paramedics, the doctors, the specialists, the patients, the content office, with all the things to help during the pandemic. It really needs the courage for you to do things during that time in assessment. Because, and I think this goes to everyone of us, not only me. Basically, I think whatever I have learned throughout this process, the 7th station which I have written in this book, is really a memorable to me, because I think that is how I actually built my character in terms of my character building, which I becomes more stronger and stronger I hoped to still remain stronger, and and now I have attached with ISTEC for 1 year, okay, almost 1 year, not yet, but almost 1 year. And I think ISTEC is actually a campus on its own. It is called Kuala Lumpur campus, and now I am experiencing a new thing also in ISTEC, because it has to be something like an institution of its own charisma in terms of bringing it under the global relevance. Yeah? So being in the 8th station now, because the book only I wrote only up to my 7th station, so I think for the 8th station, I still have the courage, to be like what I used to be in all the 7 station, and I hope up to my career ends next year, my battery is still stronger and keep recharging as I have put in this book. So I think at this stage I wanted to maybe give a little bit of break. If anybody just want to ask me anything, while I will continue to share whatever that can be learned from my writings. So Dr. Hazani, if they have any questions, or maybe I'm not sure virtual, if there is anybody who wants to raise any questions. Yeah.
I checked virtual streaming just now. There's no questions, but a lot of thank yous and congratulations to you. From your former staff, probably, they are wishing you virtually congratulations, thank you, and it's nice to hear from you. But I open the floor to any of you who probably might have questions to ask Madam Zuraida. Or if not, then I'll ask my questions or other questions.
Yeah,
Ada?
anything will do.
Okay, Sister Amira seems to have one question.
Yeah.
Okay, please.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
What is your hope or wish for administrator in IIM to develop further?
Okay, Sister Amira, thank you for that question. Having mentioned all my experience in this book, in the chapter that I have written, I wish that all the administrators, you please pull the courage in you, because the world is going to be something different later on, as I can see, because my career will end soon. But your career, especially the young administrators, you are actually dealing with new environment and the world of the uncertainties and the new things in life, and of course the advance in technology, and also the artificial intelligence that will come in here to create new things in the working life where you all will be experiencing soon. So pull your courage, be strong, be patient, and always value or whatever things that you are facing on the challenges, and also you are coping. Because once you value the things, what be given to you, no matter what role you are taking, whether it is in the campus, it is in the kuliah, any centers of study, just value it and put yourself in a positive mind, and inshallah you will succeed. Because my chapter is learning to succeed for changing role. That was what I did. Yeah? I just pulled my courage and said that I can do it. I can face the challenges no matter what are the roles given to me. It's just a matter of you say that you can do it. Inshallah you can do it.
Thank you so much, Madam, for the answer. Any other questions? I have several questions, but I don't want to ask yet, because if it's just between me and you, then we can just go and grab coffee and have a discussion. Right? But let's hear from others first, if you have questions. Okay, then I'll ask my questions.
Yeah.
When I was reading your book, your chapter, I mean, the first thing that I was drawn to is the use of the term station. You know, because my background is linguistics, so I was like, okay, why are you using the word stations? Is it because you want to capture that your office is not going to be permanent, because station is like, you know, a transit point, right? Yeah. So is that what you have in your mind when you use the term chapter, station, instead of office or division or something?
Okay, thank you, Doctor. I think that again coming to, because it is a chapter in a book, that is the art of writing. To me, when you want to pen down things that there are readers or viewers going to read, you must make it something interesting. So if you want to make it something interesting when you write and you want people to to read, and if you put like first office, like second office, it's something like not triggering people to give the attract to the point that you want to read. So when I wrote as station, I prefer to put station because actually it's the movement from one role to another. That is why I call it station. And it will be very interesting when people want to know, from first station, the next station, so what is it? So it is more on trying to figure out the journey of my life in my career rather than office.
Interesting. All right. Any other questions? Because I have more questions, but I want to give chance to others as well. Madam Nani, question? Because she's busy inviting everyone to sit.
In the meantime, Doctor, maybe
Yeah.
I would also like to take this opportunity
Please.
to thank all my staff actually in all the stations or the office. Now I'm using office to make it official. The office that I have went through, because I really appreciate their support. Because whenever I did and do things now, I always receive support from my staff, my supporting staff and my colleagues. That is where also I think the success can come through, because you need the teamwork and you need support from them. You cannot work alone. Yeah, I always tell my staff, I am not alone to do the job. It is with you. I tell them that I can be also somebody who can make that organization a successful one. But it needs actually a teamwork. So the motto that ITD used before, together we deliver the best, is actually the right motto. It needs together if you want to deliver the best. Yeah?
Okay. Should I ask another question,
Yeah,
or you want to
yes.
continue with your?
Yeah, it's okay.
All right.
So you can-
Just now, when you responded to questions by Sister Amira just now,
Yeah.
you said one of the key characteristics that is important, especially to the younger generations. You know, like two of our students here, and some of you who are still young, is courage, right? We can say that, but I was looking forward to hear from you, because you have such a vast experience moving from one office to another office. So this one takes some sort of like an adaptation. You know, you have to adapt to new environment, and adapting to new environment can be said to be quite challenging, especially to the younger generations. It's that we are so comfortable in our comfort zone, so we don't want to change. And you have shown that you can do it very easily. So what kind of skills that you think will be important for us to some sort of adapt to new environment easily, so that we don't have workplace issue or professional issues or something like that? Would you like to comment on that?
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Doctor. I think when it comes to the recipe to become, adaptive, and you can actually suit yourself to the environment in any office that you entered in. It is actually apart from courage. I mentioned about courage. I mentioned about you need to be patient and patience. That is like sabar. But I'm going to tell something of passion. It's actually the passion. Yeah, you need to have the passion. Something that you feel motivated to be in that shoe. Okay, because you need to have the mindset of a very positive mindset when you enter any new office. It's something like when you enter a new environment, you don't expect like things coming to you. You have to be in the position that you come to the people, you come to the environment, you fit yourself into the environment. So when you have that in your mind, and you start to understand the people around you, give and take, this is where you can start with the right footing. Always start with the right footing, because then you feel good to keep going with the work that you do in any center of studies, because it's you yourself know what you need to do and how you need to do to become a person being accepted by other person, because if you want people to accept you when you come without you trying to be in that position of getting into the organization, it would be very difficult. Okay, so this is one of the things that I did.
Hopefully we have learned something from that, from the response. Okay, I'm going to read something from the YouTube chat. First of all, from Zani Safina Martias, I'm sure you know. She
good
said,
friend.
congrats, Madam Zuraida. I had great time working with you at the Rector Office 2013-2018. Then there's one question from Sister Nur Shahida. Dear Madam, in your opinion, how to maybe this is the last question before you continue. Yeah? The question is how to motivate young administrators to be more competitive in their work and willing to accept more challenges.
Okay, I think before I answered Sister Shahida, is that Sister Shahida Zaharuddin?
Yes, correct.
Thank you, Sister Zaharuddin. Thank you, Sister thank you, Sister Shahida, for the question. And before that, Sister Zani, of course, my great times also working with you. Thank you also for your support to me in the Rector's office. We did actually together run the show, and Alhamdulillah, I think we were successful in our time during our responsibilities together in the Rector's office. So for Sister Shahida, how to become competitive and for the challenges that coming ahead. I think I will relate to the things that I also write in the book. Because you do not know what are the challenges you are going to face. So readiness to the challenges is very, very important. Because if, let's say, you are not ready for that, and when the challenges come to you, it will demotivate you to do anything because you don't have, you have to have the guts to counter the challenges, to cope with the challenges. So the readiness, what I meant is, whenever in your career, every day in your life, start to learn new things. You learn from one another. Learning is not only by the books you read or you learn from one person. It's actually the environment where you work, the people around you, your family, your friends. You have to learn many things with them, along with when you dealing with all the people around you, even the community. This is where you start to gain you start to gain something to be to expose to environment, and so that when it comes to the challenges later on, it is not something new that you're going to face. It's something you are actually having the exposure earlier on. So the readiness must be there. And how to make yourself ready? You must ensure that you are making yourself open from the very beginning. Okay, readiness. You must be in yourself. You must be an open-minded person. And you must be open to anyone, because sometimes there are people who don't like criticism. I mean, to be criticized. Yeah? But actually, when people criticize, sometimes it's good for you because it is a learning process. So not all critics come with a bad end with the bad things. You know, sometimes critics, when people critiques you, or maybe they give you some opinions to you, it's actually something for you to learn. So that is why I said you learned a lot with the people around you, the community, so that you become a ready person to face the challenges. So this is something for me important when I involve, even before I joined IUM, my experience in schools, in my primary education, tertiary education, my working experience. I gather all these, the exposure, and this make me ready even to work in IUM in whatever situation that I've been given. Yeah. So I hope I answered the question for Sister Shahida. Yeah? To become competitive, also you need to be competent. So stay on, and you need to be trained also. And I think this comes to the organization part, to train the young administrators.
Okay, thank you, Madam, for the answer. If there's no any other questions, then probably we will have Madam to give some sort of a concluding remarks to today's session.
Yeah, thank you, Doctor. And I think for the concluding remarks, before I say I think my last words to this session, in this session, I would like to encourage all the administrators to also now keep on to make themselves building up their character in terms of trying to learn from where they are now. Maybe sometimes when you are in your changing role, it comes to a stand where you are demotivated because you love your previous, office or center of studies that you don't want to move to another place. So don't feel like a new place is something that will hinder your success. To become a successful person, any failures, any new things in life are the precious thing that actually to give you the injection for you to move further. So no worries about challenges that coming ahead. No worries about new people around you. No worries about new community because you are learning with them together. So I think that will be part of my advice to the administrators, and do pen down some stories of yourself, because sometimes when you leave all the things behind, you might not know what you have done. So again, I'm thankful that I have this chapter 8 of this book, which later on I can maybe read again and again when during my retirement days. Okay, and just to remember what I've done in IUM, it will give me the another strength for me to move on with new life. Inshallah. Thank you.
MashaAllah. Okay, thank you so much. I think your last words just now, it's like an advice not just to the administrators, but also to all of us actually, that we have to some sort of be ready, and then with certain kinds of characteristics that we develop along the way in our professions, or even students during the study years, would help us to adapt to the new challenges. Okay, so with that last word, I would like to extend my appreciation and greatest thank you to Madam for your willingness to come here and speak to us in this particular first sessions of the IQRA Hub. We wish to have you more often after this. In fact, you have another article coming after this, so maybe
inshallah.
we will book you in advance.
I am on it now.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not reminding you on the deadline, but I'm just saying that. So to the audience, as well as those who are virtually with us, I'm promoting you the books Leading the Way, Case Studies on the Role of IUM Administrators, which is available to be purchased at the back, along with other books that are published by IUM Press. Okay. So before we end, I would like to invite Madam Rusnani, Deputy Director of Office of KCA, to present our speaker today with some sort of like a small souvenir as a way of us appreciating you. Please welcome, Madam.
Yeah, thank you very much, and thank you to KCA and every one of you. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, thank you, Madam. Thank you, Madam Zuraida. Thank you, everyone who have attended this particular sessions. Inshallah, we are hoping. Okay, we're hoping for a larger, bigger, and more successful IQRA Hub sessions. The crowd will get more bigger and bigger and bigger, inshallah, after this. So, students, please ask your friends to come. We have some sort of tea at the back, coffee. Tea or coffee, and some sort of like small kuih kot. Ada kuih ke? ABC. Oh, ada ABC. Oh, okay. Art book and coffee, not air batu campur. So we have that at the back. So please enjoy yourself. But before that, we are having some sort of a photography session with the speaker today. So with that, I end the session with Tasbih Kafarah and Suratul As. Okay, thank you everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.